One day we sat together in the garden, the same place where he had once shattered my world with his cold request for a divorce. This time it was my turn to speak. "I want a divorce," I said simply, meeting his gaze without hesitation. The world had stopped the day of the accident. "Ma'am, your husband has been in a car accident. He's in critical condition in the ER. We need you to come immediately." My hands had gone numb and my voice barely came out. "I'll be there." When I arrived, the sight of him, broken, bruised, barely alive, shattered me. For months, I poured every ounce of myself into caring for him. Every night, I sat by his bedside, counting the rhythm of his shallow breaths, terrified they might stop. Every day I cooked, cleaned, ran errands, and managed his recovery while neglecting my own health. The stress aged me. My once smooth skin turned coarse from lack of sleep and tears. My long ebony hair turned an unnatural white in just a matter of weeks. The doctors called it Marie Antoinette syndrome, but they didn't need to explain. It was the weight of holding the world together alone that turned me into someone I barely recognized in the mirror. But I didn't complain. I endured. I believed love was worth it. When he finally recovered, standing tall and smiling for the first time, I thought we had made it. That the storm was over. I had saved him and that love would bind us together forever. I couldn't have been more wrong. First it was subtle. When we went out together, he started glancing at younger, prettier women on the street. His gaze lingered and he'd make comments that felt like tiny daggers. "Wow, look at her legs," he said once, gesturing toward a woman in a short skirt as we sat at an outdoor cafe. I looked at him, stunned. "Are you serious?" "I'm sitting right here." He shrugged, smirking. "What?" "I'm just saying. She's got good genes." My cheeks burned with humiliation. I looked down at my hands, the skin rough from months of scrubbing, cooking, and caretaking. I felt invisible. It didn't stop there. On another outing, as we walked through the park, his attention wandered again. A young woman jogged by, her ponytail bouncing as she passed. "She must work out every day," he mused aloud, more to himself than to me. "Maybe you should go talk to her," I muttered bitterly. He turned to me, frowning. "What's your problem?" "I'm just observing." "You're not observing," I snapped. "You're ogling. And I'm standing right here." He rolled his eyes and kept walking, leaving me to trail behind him. As he regained his health, his social life also revived. His friends began inviting him out again. At first he took me along like old times. But soon the invitations came with excuses. "Hey, I'm heading out with the guys tonight," he said one evening, grabbing his jacket. I looked up from the dishes. "What time should I be ready?" He hesitated, adjusting his collar. "Actually, it's kind of a guys-only thing. You wouldn't have fun." I stared at him, my chest tightening. "Since when do you go out without me?" "It's not a big deal," he said dismissively. "You've been cooped up anyway. Take a night to rest." Rest? My days were already a blur of exhaustion and loneliness. Rest wasn't what I needed him. But I bit my tongue, hoping it was just a phase. It wasn't. Weeks turned into months and I stopped being invited at all. Each time he left, he became more distant, returning home smelling of expensive cologne and barely glancing at me before disappearing into the bedroom. One sunny afternoon, as we sat in the garden, the same place where we'd once shared so many dreams, the sunlight felt harsh, almost mocking as he spoke. I want a divorce, he said, his tone detached. I froze, his words hitting me like a slap. What? What? After everything we've been through? He sighed, avoiding my gaze. I just don't feel the same way anymore. You've changed. With the white hair and the wrinkles. You look like you're 10 years older than me. And we're the same age. My heart shattered into pieces, each word cutting deeper than the last. You're leaving me because I aged? I aged for you. I stayed up every night to take care of you, to bring you back from the brink of death. And now you're abandoning me? It's not just that, he said, shifting uncomfortably. I've thought about this for a long time. I need a different kind of life now. I need someone who fits me better. Fits you better? My voice broke and I couldn't hold back the tears. How can you say that? I gave up everything for you. My health, my youth, my career. I sacrificed it all because I loved you. How can you just throw that away? He looked at me, his expression unyielding. I'm sorry, but I've made my decision. As he was leaving, desperation took over and I fell to my knees in front of him, clutching his hands. Please, I begged, tears streaming down my face. Don't do this. Don't leave me. I can't imagine my life without you. Tell me what I can do. Tell me how to fix this. He pulled his hands away, his face cold. There's nothing to fix. This is just how I feel. Those words crushed me. He stood, brushing past me without a backward glance, leaving me kneeling on the cold garden path, my sobs echoing in the still air. We divorced 2 months later. I ended up in a small apartment with no job or friend. I felt lonely and helpless every single night after that. And then one day I opened my eyes and I was back. It was a rebirth, a second chance at life. This time when the phone rang and I heard the familiar voice saying, "Your husband has been in a car accident. He's in the..." My reaction was different. "Oh, okay," I said flatly, staring at my manicured nails. "Thanks for letting me know, ma'am." The voice on the other end sounded confused, waiting for me to panic, to cry, to ask for details. Instead, I hung up, set the phone down, and returned to my group chat where my friends were discussing plans for brunch. "Sorry for the interruption," I typed. "Where were we?" "Oh, right. Mimosas at 11. At the hospital, I saw him again on that same bed, pale and weak, hooked up to machines that beeped steadily. For a fleeting moment, I felt a pang of déjà vu. But it quickly passed, replaced by the weight of everything I had endured the first time around. I approached the nurse's desk and handed over his health insurance card. "This will cover his care," I said curtly. "You're not staying?" the nurse asked, her brows furrowing slightly. "No," I replied, turning to leave. "I'm sure the hospital will take good care of him." This time I didn't pour my life into his recovery. I didn't lose sleep, skip meals, or neglect myself for his sake. Instead, I channeled all my energy into my career. The work that once felt like an escape became my passion. And within months, I earned a promotion I'd only dreamed of before. I resumed my routine workouts, rediscovering the strength and vitality I thought I'd lost forever. The mirror reflected a different version of me now, someone confident, healthy, and vibrant. Meanwhile, his recovery was slower, much slower than the first time. Without the constant care I had once provided, his body healed unevenly, leaving him with lingering pain. He aged poorly, his hair graying and his posture stooping as he struggled with the simplest tasks. Carrying groceries caused sharp pains in his shoulders, A long walk left him winded and aching. Our paths diverged in every way. While I flourished, he withered. One day we sat together in the garden, the same place where he had once shattered my world with his cold request for a divorce. This time it was my turn to speak. "We need to talk," I said, my tone calm but resolute. He looked up at me, his face etched with lines of regret and weariness. "What is it?" "I want a divorce," I said simply, meeting his gaze without hesitation. His eyes widened, and his hand trembled slightly as he set down his cup of tea. "A divorce? Why? After everything, why now?" "Because," I began, my voice steady, "we've been wasting time. I need someone who truly fits me. Someone who values me for who I am. And that person isn't you." His breath hitched, and for a moment he looked like he might cry. "Please," he said, his voice breaking. "Don't do this. All I have now is you. I've lost everything else." I shook my head slowly, my heart untouched by his plea. "You lost me a long time ago. I've just been waiting for the right moment to let you go." I smiled faintly, the kind of smile that comes with closure. "I need someone who truly fits me, and that's not you. Not anymore." I stood, brushing invisible dust off my dress. "Take care of yourself." As I walked away, I felt no sadness, no lingering doubts. This time I was free, stepping into a future where I came first, stronger, healthier, and happier than ever before. The garden was silent behind me, but in my heart, I could already hear the sound of a new beginning.